So I am going to show you everything I know about using a bait caster. So if you've never even touched a bait caster before, this is the video for you. So I'm going to give you all the tips and tricks that I know to get started using a bait caster. It's not easy. It's definitely a more advanced technique. Once you master it, it's way faster, just overall better, in my opinion, for most things. If you're throwing something like, you know, 1/4 ounce and above, a bait caster is the way to go. Less than that, spinner rod for sure. But let's get started. First of all, you don't want braid. I have braid on here. If you're just getting started, I suggest mono, and I suggest a thicker mono. Around 12-pound test would be the best to get started with. Number 2, I suggest starting off with throwing a heavier bait. Here I have my 3/8 ounce chatterbait, which is okay, but for you guys, I would suggest starting with a whopper plopper, 1/2 ounce chatterbait, 1/2 ounce buzzbait, something heavy, something that's got some weight to it. If you know nothing about bait casters, this button here, that's what releases the spool, right? When you do that, you have to hold your spool with your thumb, right? Hold the spool with your thumb. And then so when you're casting, when you go to release, you have to let go to do the cast. First thing you should do when adjusting your bait caster. Starting off, I'm gonna keep you on the tighter side of things to make it easier to where you don't backlash very easy at all. Tie your bait on, hit the button. See how fast that dropped? That's too fast. You want to adjust your spool tension knob, which is on this reel is on the left. It'll just basically be a cap. And as you tighten it, it'll stop the spool and let it loose. So what you want to do, tighten it till it doesn't move. And then slowly back it off until it's just barely dropping. And you can go even a little tighter than that if you want to get started. And then I would max your brakes all the way. You should be able to, from that point, to just cast and not touch anything and it won't backlash. The only downfall to that is your casting distance is cut by a lot. You know, and that's really what you're sacrificing here just to be able to get started. But like I said, if you set it like that, you should be able to do a light cast and it does not backlash. And that's where I start at. And then as you progress in casting, you can cast harder and get some more distance on it. And as you're getting better, you can start backing off your magnetic brake. Hold on a second. This is where skill becomes involved with a bait caster. So as you loosen up your brakes, you have to balance loosening your brakes with how much thumb pressure you put on the spool. The better you get with your thumb, and then the less brakes you need to control your cast and keep yourself from backlashing. That's what you need to be practicing here, is your thumb and how much pressure you don't need to cast. Because anybody can cast with a lot of thumb pressure and never backlash. The goal is to get the cast a far distance, and you can't do that with a lot of thumb pressure or a lot of brakes. This reel actually doesn't have a magnetic brake. It's actually a plastic little tab in there that rubs on the side of the housing. But yeah, so just every cast, you'll get farther and farther as you loosen up your reel. And you want to start off with light casts. You don't want to try and whip this thing out there. Just light cast until you get something figured out. Now I'm going to show you what happens if you have your tension way loose and your magnet way down and you just cast and do nothing. It backlashes, it bird's nests. And with braid, that's really bad, and actually I'm hating myself for doing that right now. If you want to get a bird's nest out, hold your thumb on the spool and pull the line out, holding pressure on the spool, and eventually it should come out. And sometimes you can get bird's nests so bad that you have to cut it out. And as you're getting better, you're loosening this magnet up a little bit each time you cast until you start bird's nesting. Once you start bird's nesting, I'd tighten it back up a little bit and then play around with it, keep casting it. And the better you get, the looser you can have that. But so another thing to keep in mind is when you cast, as your bait is about to hit the water, you want to grab that spool and stop it, because that's when it backlashes, is when it hits the water and it's still spinning here and keeps spinning. So like cast, about to hit the water, I stop it. I have a slight bird's nest right there, but that's okay. I stopped it a little bit late trying to show you guys. So another thing that will cause you to have bird's nests is if you're fishing and it's windy, you're casting into the wind, you're going to need more brakes because that wind is slowing down the bait. And vice versa, if you cast with the wind, you're going to be able to cast much farther with less of a chance of a bird's nest. But anyways, the better you get, the farther you'll be able to cast. And that was not an impressive cast, I'll tell you that. Oh, backlash. I'm not the greatest person at this. I came here the other day and I did catch some decent, I caught a decent smallie here. So maybe I'll just put that footage in for you guys. There's a fish. What is that? I think that's a big smallie. That's a nice smallie. That's a nice smallie. That's a nice smallie. Nice smallie. Stay up out of there. Oh my God, it's a giant. I gotta take the board down. Please don't come off. I gotta get down there. Please stay on. He's pissed. I got it a wrench. I got the antler in my mouth. He's still there. He's big, but he ain't as big as I thought he was. But he's big. He's big. Oh, all right. That might be a 17. Let's see. That's a 17. Well, no, that's a 16 and a half. No, that's a 17. That's a 17. He's been caught a couple times recently. That's a quality fish. There we go. 17-inch smallie at the pier. He's thin compared to the ones that been there a couple months ago, but I knew he was a big one. All right, let's let him go. There he goes. Didn't want the chatterbait, but he ate the swim bait. Well, the fishing sucks, but hopefully that can get you guys started. I know there isn't much to say. A lot of it is just trial and error. Just keep trying until you get it right. If anybody out there knows some tips I didn't say, leave them in the comments for people to learn from. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Yeah, that's my plan anyways. Just got started.
Hey, how far is the Dawson Break from here?
About a mile.
How far?
Mile.
How many?
1 mile.
Exactly.
Pretty much exactly.
How long do you think it'll take us to get there?
Probably another hour. There goes trying to make a video. But this is the typical yacht for you on the weekend. We'll wait until some of this calms down. I'm sure there'll be a time when there aren't people screaming and drunk. I think I got 40 people right in front of me. Oh. What is this? Oh. Oh. I think I was a snag carp.